Australia is voting, and while the ballots are being cast, the nation is grappling with major economic challenges, shifting demographics, and growing political uncertainty. As polls open across this vast country, here are 5 key things to understand about the 2025 Australian general election. Polls opened on Saturday morning in a nation that spans 3 time zones. Voting runs from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the east and from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. local time in the west, which means polls close 2 hours later in states like Western Australia. But the voting began long before Saturday, which is a remarkable 8.6 million early and postal ballots had already been submitted since the 22nd of April. Australia is one of the few democracies with compulsory voting, and participation is usually very high. In the 2022 election, more than 90% of eligible voters cast a ballot. That trend is expected to continue, with authorities emphasizing transparency, accessibility, and security across the country's 8,000 plus polling stations. Ask any voter what's on their mind, and odds are they'll mention rising prices and housing affordability. Since Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's Labour Party took office in 2022, inflation soared to a 30-year high of 7.8%. To combat this, the Reserve Bank of Australia hiked interest rates a dozen times, with the official rate peaking at 4.35%. While inflation has eased to 4.1% as of February, many Australians are still feeling the pinch. Home loans are more expensive, rents have skyrocketed, and building companies have collapsed under the pressure of rising material costs. The housing crunch has become so severe that both major parties have made housing affordability central to their platforms. Prime Minister Albanese is seeking a second term, and history is on his side. No first-term federal government in Australia has been ousted since 1931. But opposition leader Peter Dutton, the head of the centre-right Liberal National Coalition, believes this could be the year that changes. Dutton is running on a message of economic competence, energy reliability, and a tougher stance on national security. He's betting that dissatisfaction with inflation and housing will be enough to break Labour's hold on Parliament. If he succeeds, he'll make history as the first to boot a sitting first-term government in nearly a century. Labour held 78 of 151 seats in the outgoing parliament, which is a narrow majority. After electoral redistributions, the new parliament will have 150 seats, which means even a small shift in votes could produce a hung parliament. The coalition had 53 seats, and a record 19 seats were held by independents and smaller parties, reflecting growing voter disillusionment with the two-party system. If that trend continues, Australia could see a minority government, which would require Labour or the coalition to strike deals with independents and minor parties to stay in power. This is the first election where millennials and Gen Z will outnumber baby boomers at the ballot box. It's a major demographic shift that both parties are trying to respond to, especially on climate, housing, and economic security for younger Australians. There's a clear divide on energy policy. The coalition has promised 7 nuclear power stations by 2035, funded by the government, and wants to use gas to fill the energy gap. Meanwhile, Labour aims for 82% of electricity to come from renewables, mostly solar and wind, by 2030. That contrast may define the future of Australia's grid power and will play a major role in shaping voter choices. As votes are counted and results roll in, Australians are weighing not just political parties but competing visions of how to navigate an era of global economic uncertainty and domestic pressures. Whether it ends in a clear majority or a fragmented parliament, this election is poised to leave a lasting impact. For more updates on the Australian general election, stay tuned to the official YouTube channel of the Indian Express.